Hi, and welcome to the 7th episode of Live from the Trevor Zoo. It's great to welcome you, even if you can't be here in person. My name is Jessica Bennett, and I'm the Director of Programs here at the Trevor Zoo, and we're going to talk about ring-tailed lemurs. If you have questions along the way, please feel free to check or put them in the chat, and we'll take them at the end. If you've been following us, you know that Lorelei, one of our females, gave birth to a baby recently on April 3rd. We're going to show you some footage right here. So mom and baby are doing well. Although we've had various lemur species here at the Trevor Zoo since 1984 and ringtails since 1992, this is the first time we've had baby ring-tailed lemurs. We don't know if it's a boy or a girl yet, but we're thinking if the baby is a boy, we'll name him Jono, and if it's a girl, we'll name her Jane, especially considering she or he was born on Jane Goodall's birthday. In fact, it was our former director, Jono Meggs, from Millbrook's class of 1965, and his wife Jane, who traveled with their children to the Jersey Zoo in the Channel Islands in 1984 to learn more about lemurs and bring that knowledge to the Trevor Zoo. We started with brown lemurs and red-fronted lemurs, and today we have black and white ruffed lemurs, and of course our ring-tailed lemurs. Here are some photos from the 90s of when we had black and white ruffed lemur babies. And now we're going to take it over to our tropical building where Gabby Deyo, our husbandry keeper, is going to show us how we take care of our ring-tailed lemurs here.
Thanks, Jess. Hi, my name is Gabby Deyo. I am the husbandry keeper here at the Trevor Zoo. I studied veterinary technology. I started here almost a year ago, last summer. So this summer I'll be here almost a year. And I just kind of help take care of the day-to-day stuff with the animals. Today we're going to be talking about our ring-tailed lemurs, and we are located in our tropical kitchen right now. So we prepare a lot of our diets for the animals here in this building, including our ring-tailed lemurs and also our river otters, who are just outside that other door. So I'm going to show you a little bit of how we prepare the ring-tailed lemur diet. So this is our card. We have these for all of our diets here, and it just shows what animal it is, what the animals are, and just kind of what we do in the morning and the afternoon. So for these guys, you'll notice it says what they get and how we would prepare it, and then in the afternoon, if it's different, in this case, it's the same as the morning, although we do try to give them variation. So this is just an example of their diet, and this is just a card so that we know which animal it belongs to, because some of them do look similar. So we have 3 bowls here. Whoops, there was a biscuit. And so you'll notice that there's biscuits inside, and normally they're this size, but we crack them in half for these guys just to make it a little bit easier for them, a little bit more palatable. And we also give them about a half a cup of different fruits and veggies, and we try to vary that as much as possible. So you'll notice there's some carrot in there, some pear, some plum, there's also some melon, some kiwi. There's also banana. That is definitely one of their favorites for sure. I'm just going to break that up a little bit. So they do love their fruit. Definitely, I think more so than the veggies, but we do still try to offer them that to break it up a little bit and give them as much variety as possible. And so these biscuits are a little bit hard, so sometimes we'll add, I just have in this cup a little bit of a nutritional shake and some water, and so I'm just going to pour a little bit of that on the biscuits and then just kind of like mix it up. It just makes it a little bit more palatable for them, and it also adds a little bit more nutrition too because of the shake that's in there. And gets them to kind of eat the biscuits a little bit more because they are definitely more interested in the produce that's in there. And then in those biscuits, if you're wondering, there's a lot of different grains and oats and a lot of different minerals. There's a lot of nutrition in there, a lot of different vitamins that we try to get them to have. And then the fruits and veggies also, they love those. So I'm just going to put that back in there. So then there's 3 bowls. And we'll put those in the exhibit. We'll move them all around. And then, so this is an example of either their AM or their PM. It's pretty much the same, but like I said, we do try to vary the fruits and veggies that are in there. And so that's pretty much it for their diet. And then we'll put it in their fridge. There, we have our fridges here. This is where we'll keep the diets, and this is where we keep the fruits and stuff that we prepare with it. And then we'll cut it all up and put it in here. So that's pretty much it for their diet. And then we'll feed them. So do you want to go upstairs and we'll see what it's like to feed the ring-tailed lemurs? So if you'll come with us, we'll head upstairs and we'll go to their exhibit. And then we'll introduce you guys to our ring-tailed lemur family that we have here. And so I think they're pretty eager and hungry for their food, so you'll get to see them eat for sure. And so I'll walk you through what we do in the morning and the afternoon as well to take care of these guys. So we're going to head into the keeper area where we keep all of our tools and stuff that we need to service the exhibit, and how we get into the exhibit as well. So I just have here a compost bucket that we're going to use to also basically scoop up the poop and stuff like that in there, and some fresh shavings that will scatter down on the ground as well. And before I go in there, I'll just quickly introduce you guys to the lemurs that we have here. I think we just had Foster come down on the bottom. He is our male. He's our newest lemur that came to us from the Lemur Conservation Foundation in Florida. And then we have, actually Foster's up there, I think that's London down there on the bottom. And so we have Lorelei up here, and London and Lorelei are actually twin sisters, and they're going to be 6. So they're 5 right now, but this coming summer they'll be 6 years old. And you can see that there's a young little one on Lorelei. She is a new mom, so Foster and Lorelei are new parents, so we're very excited about that. I don't know if I mentioned, but Foster, he came to us, and he just turned 3 this month. So he just had a birthday. And then London and Lorelei are twin sisters that came to us from the Lake Superior Zoo. So they're very cute and very excited. So I'm just gonna put this on before I go in there and get that situated. So I'm gonna head into our keeper area now. And I'll bring our food and my compost with me. And get my shavings as well so that those are ready. So if you wanna come on in, I'm just gonna close this just so that I don't have to worry about them coming out. They are pretty agile and we don't want them escaping, so we'll close that and then we don't have to worry about that. So I'm gonna open this up. And so we always wanna make sure that they have fresh, clean water, right? So we're gonna dump that out, and there's a drain right here on the ground, so I can just dump that right on the floor. And we have these scrub brushes in every exhibit, so we'll just give that a nice little scrub just to make sure the bowl is nice and clean. And I'm just gonna set that down. I'll grab my hose here, get that turned on. I just like to give it a quick little rinse, and then we'll fill it up. So there it goes. And then just make sure we turn that off so we don't have the water running. And we'll put that right back on there. So this is one of their old food bowls. You can see that they ate most of the fruits and veggies in there, and they left a few biscuits. That's pretty typical what they'll do. And they do like to scatter their biscuits around, so we'll pick those up. And we do like to save these. We try to conserve as much as we can because these biscuits are still good and we can still use them. So unless they're not looking so great, we'll hold on to those and save them for those guys. So I'm just gonna grab a couple of tools here. And there is a little bit of poop in there, so I'm gonna go ahead and scrape that out. We wanna make sure we do that. We wanna make sure their exhibit's nice and clean. So then I'm gonna put one food bowl in there just to kind of spread it out for these guys a little bit. So we'll put one of those in there. So this space is pretty much all set and ready to go. And I'll open this back up and we'll see if anybody comes in. We might get some takers. They probably know that I put some food in here for them. We'll see. They might come through the door. And we'll see if they come through. They might also be waiting for us to go on the main exhibit because they know we put food in there as well. So I'm going to go ahead in there, and we'll see if we can get that serviced their exhibit in there to get a little bit of a tight squeeze in there. Looks like we've got Looks like I think London maybe is saying hello to us. All right. So I'm just gonna grab my tools here. And I'll grab the rest of their food. So I'm just gonna close this so they don't wanna go through there. And so I'm just gonna remove their old food that's over here. And I'll spread some out on this side so that they can start eating. We'll put a bowl there, and we'll put one here. And it looks like they're coming right over. We got London and Lorelei are looking for their food. And I'm just gonna start cleaning up their exhibit. So they were pretty busy down here. They do spend a lot of time on the ground. Actually, ring-tailed lemurs are one of the more ground-dwelling lemurs. They spend, in the wild, they can spend up to half of their days on the ground rather than the trees, although they do climb as well. But these guys definitely spend a lot of time on the ground, so you'll find a lot of their old biscuits and poop and stuff like that on the ground. So I'm just working on picking that up right now. And like I said, we'll try to save these biscuits, so I'll put those to the side. But so they're probably enjoying their meal right now, and I'm just gonna keep cleaning. And these guys, there we go. So a little bit about lemurs. They are primates. They are called prosimians, actually, and so they're related to monkeys and apes, but they're thought to have evolved a little bit earlier. And what's pretty cool about lemurs is that they are a matriarchal species. So that means that the females are kind of the ones that run the show, interestingly enough. So London and Lorelei are kind of the bosses, if you will, and not so much Foster. And you'll notice that sometimes they'll get a little frisky with each other, and you'll notice maybe Foster might get like pushed to the side a little bit. And that's kind of pretty typical behavior because, like I said, the females do tend to run the show. So in the wild, they can actually live in groups of up to 30 individuals, actually, and there'll be one alpha female. And you may have just heard a little bit of vocalizing from some of them. They have lots of different vocalizations, actually, at least 28 different kinds. And in the wild, they have different calls and vocalizations, and they can alert each other to any threats that might come about. And their tails, as you can see, pretty distinct. They can use those as like a flag while they're traveling, kind of to know where they're going. All right, so I'm just gonna keep going over here. I'm gonna probably step right over here. Just keep cleaning. And we'll put some more shavings down, like I said. But, okay. So they're pretty busy eating their fruits and veggies. Like I said, that's definitely their favorite. In the wild, they'll eat lots of different vegetation, and they'll even eat like fruits and nectars and tree sap and bark. So lots of different kinds of vegetation. They're pretty adaptable. And they'll eat a wide variety of different things that they like. Okay, so I think we're pretty much cleaned up in here. I think I'll grab this and I'll put this out in here, and we'll grab the old food bowls with the biscuits in there. And then I'm gonna grab some of those fresh shavings. Just put those down a little bit here so they have nice and clean. I think they're grunting to each other right now. Some of their vocalizing. Hi, Foster. Hi, girls. Hello, are you enjoying that carrot? Is that good? All right, so we'll get this all spread down. Nice clean layer of shavings down there for them. And there we go. And we'll put this down over there on that side. And so I think these guys are pretty much all set. Their exhibit's clean. We gave them fresh water. They have food. So they are pretty much all set. So we'll close this. And so that's pretty much it for those guys. So now we're pretty much all set. So I'm gonna take out our compost bucket that we didn't use and we'll put this in our compost pile. And we'll take out our old food and the shavings that we didn't use because we can still use these, they're still good. And I'm gonna close this door now because we're all set here. And so now we're gonna head outside. When it gets about 55 degrees, we'll be able to let these guys outside. And sometimes when it's a little bit cooler, as long as it's nice and sunny, we can let them out. And they love being outside, loving to explore and sunbathe. And we'll show you guys some enrichment that we can do with these guys outside as well. So we're gonna go head outside now. Oh, okay, so on our right here is the black and white ruffed lemurs, so that's on our other species of lemurs that we have in addition to the ring-tailed lemurs. And so now we're coming up here on their outside exhibits. So for both the black and whites and the ring-tailed lemurs, they both have outside access exhibits. So this is the black and whites exhibit. And then we're coming up here on the ring-tailed lemur exhibit. So I'm just gonna go inside here and we're gonna open up the shift door to let the ring-tailed lemurs out. So I'm gonna go in here now and open up the door. So then when you look and see up here on the left, when I open this up, you'll be able to see over there, the ring-tailed lemurs will hopefully be able to come out. And so just keep an eye out over there. And yep, here they come. So we can see them come out. So we'll see who we get coming out here, if all three of them come out. Looks like London, Lorelei, and Foster all came out. Yep. I think we got London down there. And so we got Lorelei and Foster up there. And so I just have here some treats for them. I'm gonna give them some craisins. They love craisins. They're definitely a sweet treat that they enjoy. So we'll just take them right from my hand. And I also have some bananas in here too. That's another favorite treat of theirs. But some enrichment that we like to do is give them different food items in a natural, oh, there they go, they went back inside. So like I said, I have some banana here. So I'll toss them on the ground, and it's a good way to encourage some natural behavior in these guys. So like I had said before, they do spend a lot of time outside on the ground. And so foraging behavior is a good thing to encourage. So just putting these things on the ground, they can dig around in the leaves, as you can see. See, they'll hop right down there, and they'll scavenge around for their fruit, and then they'll be able to eat them. It's a good way to encourage that natural behavior. So any enrichment that we can do that encourages that is good. We want to, since they're in captivity, encourage that natural behavior as much as we can to stimulate them. Since they are very intelligent animals, it's an important thing that we try to do every day. And it just keeps them stimulated and hopefully as happy as we can make them. So they'll keep searching around, and it's just a good way to keep that natural behavior going as they're looking for more treats. So I'll just keep giving them some treats. But a little bit more about these guys. They are unfortunately an endangered species. Since they're only native to the island of Madagascar, they're especially sensitive to habitat destruction there. Unfortunately, that's a big crisis that they face. Also, illegal hunting is another thing that is a problem for those guys. There are some protected areas, but the levels of protection vary. Breeding programs in captivity are definitely a success. And as we can attest to that, we have our newest little member here. And they are a flagship endangered species, so that means that they are basically ambassadors, not only for their species, but other species of the flora and fauna in Madagascar, and just endangered species as a whole. So we're definitely excited to have our newest little ambassador. And you'll notice that both of the girls, London and Lorelei, came down, and Foster kind of stayed in the back because, if you remember me saying earlier, these guys are matriarchal, so they are, the alphas, and Foster kind of is hanging out in the background, and these girls are in the forefront. So they're just going to keep enjoying their sunshine. We'll let them have their time in the sun and enjoying that they love to come outside. So we're definitely, anytime it's nice and warm and sunny, we're happy to let them outside and enjoy, and we try to put enrichment out here to encourage them to get out here and explore. So it's definitely important for those guys to get as much exposure to nature as we can get them. Oh, it looks like they're going back inside again for now. So I think now we'll take it back over to Jess.
All right, thanks, Gabby. I'm so glad that the lemurs had some fun outside, and looks great. So lemurs, unfortunately, are not doing well in the wild. They are an endangered species, so they are only found on the island of Madagascar, and unfortunately, they have the challenge of deforestation, and the island of Madagascar is endemic to 90 species that are only found to that area, and it has great biodiversity. So for the ringtails, they are only found in that area, and deforestation, also hunting, illegal hunting, and because they are so cute, which you just saw with Gabby there, they are illegally trapped as pets for the pet trade. So those are some of the challenges that they face. Fortunately, they are in AZA institutions, and they do well in captivity, and as you saw, we have the baby, they do breed in captivity. So we are hoping that we can grow their numbers here as ambassador animals to teach people about them, and then also, if needed, we would be able to reintroduce ring-tailed lemurs into the wild. So I am going to show you a few organizations now that we use to help support lemurs. I do want to show you, before I do that, this little packet that we hand out on World Lemur Day, which is in October, and we've been doing this for a few years now. There's a lot of great information here, so when you can come back to the zoo, hopefully by October everything will be great, and we'll see you all our lemur lovers here, and help support us. So we have this great packet, and the money that we raise during that weekend goes right into supporting lemurs in the wild. So I'm going to show you some organizations here that will help show that. So here is the Lemur Conservation Network, and this is the organization that first put out World Lemur Day and organizes the World Lemur Day all over the world. And then the next one that I want to point out, there's great resources on all of these websites, so feel free to check that out. This one is www.lemurconservationnetwork.org, so you could just Google Lemur Conservation Network. The next one is the Madagascar Fauna and Flora group, and this group is really great because they help conserve many species in Madagascar, specifically lemurs, but many other animals as well, and they do a lot of research and conservation right in Madagascar. And they employ local people to help with those projects, and they do a lot with conserving the land. So the land that they conserve there goes directly to our ring-tailed lemurs and other lemur species in the wild. And their website is madagascarfaunaflora.org, so fairly easy. The next one I want to point out is the Lemur Conservation Foundation, and this one is actually near and dear to us for a few reasons. I've had the opportunity to be able to go and visit, but also Millbrook's class of 1971, Scott Riviere, is actually the chairman of the board of the Lemur Conservation Foundation, so that's how we first learned about it. And Scott actually has spent his whole career as an environmentalist, and a path that he says started at his time here at Millbrook School and his experience of working with the animals at the Trevor Zoo. So thanks, Scott. We're so happy that you've carried on that legacy. After Scott spent his time in college, he worked at England's Jersey Wildlife Preservation Trust, which is now the Durrell Wildlife Conservation Trust, where he cared for captive lemurs. So it was definitely near and dear to his heart early on. He developed conservation training program with international field workers there. And then he went to work with the Lemur Conservation Foundation in Florida. And this organization has 100 acres and 6 lemur species in Mayaca City in Florida. And it's an AZA certified facility. And here are some photos of the Lemur Conservation Foundation, and there's me talking with Dr. Allison Grand. Some of the platforms and furniture that they have out in the field with the lemurs, they are free roaming over those 100 acres, so they can move around. And they do training sessions with them and bring them to local areas so that they can keep a close eye on those animals. You see that some of them have collars, and that helps them to track where the lemurs are, so they can, again, keep track of where all the lemurs are because they have a lot of them. And with a free roaming area, they want to make sure to keep an eye on everybody. And this is a picture of Scott when he brought the board, including founder Penelope Boundary Saunders and Dr. Allison Grand, to the Trevor Zoo for a fundraiser. I also want to point out that there are some great educational resources on the Lemur Conservation Foundation webpage, so definitely check those out under the Education tab, especially for those of you at home looking for some exciting school materials. So check that out. Here you can see that right there under that tab. They're both great, those tabs. Yep, and all about lemurs. So there's lots of books and things that you can check out. So as we wrapping up the conservation section, feel free to ask some questions and we'll check those out. It seems like everyone's really excited about our lemurs. We're so glad, and hopefully soon we'll be able to invite you back to the zoo so you can see them for yourself. I'm sure that the lemurs will be excited to see people again. So do we have some early? Oh, Augie wanted to know why, or what noises they make, what sounds do they make, and why do they have the black and white rings on their tails? So the ringtails make a lot of kind of humming noises. It's a little hard. It's sort of like a humming noise to each other, and occasionally they're going to do a little chorus where they howl a little bit, but that's pretty rare to hear that. But they make a lot of little grunting, humming noises to each other. They do a lot of nonverbal behavior that they use to indicate whether they like something or they don't like something. Then the black and white tail, the ring that you see there, I don't know exactly why it's black and white and ringed like that, but I do know that they use their tails to communicate a lot. And the the ring-tailed lemurs are on the ground a lot. And so when they're walking on the ground, their tail is actually up in the air, and you just see the ringed tail, and that moves along, and that's one way that they keep track of each other when they're in big troops and walking around foraging for food. So that tail is kind of a signal. And then the males are actually going to use that tail for stink fights, which is pretty entertaining. They rub a scent on their tail. They have a scent gland right here on their elbow pit, and they rub that, and then they actually throw their tail over their head, and whoever has the strongest scent is the dominant male. So they definitely use those tails for a number of things, but I'm not exactly sure how it got to be white and black. There are other questions that what does their home in nature look like? The ring-tailed lemurs are found in a lot of the grassy drylands in Madagascar. So Madagascar is very, like I said earlier, is very diverse. So there are rainforest, there's rocky areas, mountainous rocky areas, and then there are grassland areas. So they're found in a number of different habitats, but one of the primary places that they live are the grasslands. And then how long is the gestation period? Nan is asking. And once born, how long do they cling to the mother? So they are, I believe it's 100, I didn't look at this right before the show, so sorry if I'm a little inaccurate here, but I think it's about 103 days from the time that they have copulation till they're born. And the babies are going to cling to the mom for about a month, and then they'll start to explore, sometimes being off the mom, but it may be for short periods of time, and then just like toddlers of humans, and they start to expand a little farther and a little farther, but they're going to be on the mom for quite a bit. And then obviously if she's moving or looking for food, she's going to grab the baby's going to cling on, and then they're going to go to the next area. So the baby's actually only been outside a couple of times. Oh, that's great footage there. You can see that looks like London went and was grooming the baby. So it is really great that London and Lorelei are twin sisters, which Gabby mentioned, but London has been helping Lorelei and by grooming. It's really important for lemurs to groom. It's a social behavior. So they all groom each other, but London is allowed to be closer to the baby than Foster, although Foster has been seen grooming the baby a couple of times as well. There's a question by Nan. What is their lifespan? So in captivity, lemurs can live into their 20s. We've had a black and white ruffed lemur, a different species, live into the 30s, but ringtails, I believe, are a little bit shorter. But in the wild, they're probably only going to live to their mid-teens, so 12, 13, 14. But in the wild, they're also finding all their own food, and they don't have the medical care that they do in captivity. So here in captivity, we give them lots of vaccines, and they have all the best medical care. So anytime that something is a little off, we're looking at them with the vet. So, so they definitely live longer in the wild, in captivity. Okay, so I guess we don't have any other questions. And so we're going to close. Thank you so much for joining in and bearing with some of my mistakes. We hope you continue to join us on our Trevor Zoo Live version on Facebook on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. And in the meantime, feel free to check out our live cameras 24 hours a day. We have our pandas, our pond, and our heron nest. So check those out, and that is at www.millbrook.org/Trevor Zoo Live. And I know we can't see you in person, but we're really excited to be able to open the doors to the zoo soon, and hopefully we'll see you then. Bye.